Previously on All Things Unexplained.
I was on American Airlines flight. I was just taking pictures out the plane window. I love to do that. I love flying and taking pictures. And all of a sudden, when I glanced out, it looked like a cruise missile is really the only way I can describe it. It was this long, kind of skinny black object, and it looked like it had kind of like exhaust coming out of the back of it. And it was right there, like level with my plane window.
If you look at the pictures, what you have, you could tell that the object is outbound. You know, it's coming from the ground and up. But if the military, the government is testing, you'd think they'd let the plane get out of the way first. Why was there such a hurry to push the button?
All Things Unexplained. Hosted by Dr. Mounts.
Let's face it, we were always ready to roll without him anyway.
CJ Derringer.
Ain't nobody perfect, right?
And Smitty Neebs.
I've never planned out hardly anything my whole life. I just freeball.
Featuring Cajun Man.
I'm just old nobody, somebody looking for somebody.
Now, Orville and Cheryl, we've heard from some listeners already tonight that have had encounters with UFOs at Board Camp Crystal Mine. And we're speaking with Orville and Cheryl Murphy from Board Camp Crystal Mine in Mena, Arkansas. That's West Central Arkansas. You can find them at boardcampcrystalmine.com. Smitty and I are excited, and CJ are excited to hopefully take a trip there in the near future and spend the night and do an unexplained tour. Cheryl and Orville, could you tell us more? I think it would be helpful to know more about Board Camp Crystal Mine before we get into some of the UFO encounters and other paranormal encounters there.
Well, long ago, this was all, native land. And so we bought the land. We were going to put in a campground, and we discovered the crystals. Large deposits. So we ended up opening up the crystal mine. Then we started having some strange activity, and I think the activity was going on around us all the time. It wasn't our turn to see it. But once you see it, you can't unsee. Then it opens up all kinds of new doors. But once things started happening, then that's when a lot of the native tribes started showing up here and saying, look, we got to talk, all right? And they taught us a lot of stuff about the earth and the natural energies of the earth. And to them, this was a place of peace. But they were saying that they call them the star people or the forest people. And they said there's certain spots on the earth where the star people and the forest people can move out, in and out freely. So there's other places they can't do that, like the veil is too thick or whatever. But could it be that the earth is 70% water? If you have a thin veil in only certain areas, 70% of the time it's going to be over water.
That makes a lot of sense. And my son is so excited. I have to tell you, Orville and Cheryl. We're speaking with Orville and Cheryl Murphy from Board Camp Crystal Mine in Mena, Arkansas. My son is so excited that we're talking to y'all tonight because he loves Josh Gates and Expedition Unknown. Loves them. Now, you all had an epic encounter at Board Camp Crystal Mine that was so phenomenal, it got Josh Gates and Expedition Unknown out to your property. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, they came out and did the filming. I'll let Cheryl talk more, but they did a 4-part miniseries called The Hunt for Extraterrestrials, and they went everywhere all over the world. But the only place they really caught any decent footage of something they couldn't explain was here at board camp.
Just as a little bit of history, yes, we found the crystals and opened the mine in 2012. So the first 5 years, we just had the public come out and dig crystals, and we enjoyed that very much, having people come out and have a nice time, like we hope y'all be able to do that when you visit it. But what happened in 2017, there's a picture right above my head there on our poster that shows 3 beams of light shooting into the night sky. And my son was visiting, and we were just out a nice February night looking at the stars, and all of a sudden, that's not a photograph up there, but that's an artist's rendition of our description of what we saw. And this event started this whole thing. So first the horizon glowed white, and then these 3 beams of light shot up. And they lasted about 8 to 10 seconds. We were speechless. We had no idea what the heck this was. I mean, we live out, there's no freeways out here, no big roads or anything, that wasn't hunter's spotlights. The lights lasted about 8-10 seconds, and everything went black. When we walked up there to the top of the hill the next morning, we found all the metal objects were affected. So we had fence posts. They were leaning. We had a great big old metal gate toppled over. Anything that was metal was somehow moved or otherwise affected. And, we didn't have Ghostbusters' phone number at the time, so we didn't know really who to call. But we called a friend who knew about MUFON. Now, Orville and I never believed in this paranormal stuff before. That was all on TV until this event that we saw the beams of light. And we called a friend and just told them, and they knew about MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. So MUFON was contacted, and they called us and scheduled to come out and do a actual on-site investigation. And the reason they came was because we had that physical evidence left behind, which was the metal objects were affected. And they had what's called Gauss meters, Gauss, which measures magnetism. And when they put those Gauss meters up to those metal objects, the readings just went through the roof. And MUFON was extremely excited because they said, this is proof that something really strange happened when you saw them beams of light. And they suggested it was probably a craft, some kind of a UFO type craft hovering over our crystal mine property, maybe even harvesting crystal energy. And at the time, we thought they were nuts to even come up with that scenario. But now we're believers. And, we do wonder if the crystal deposits here, the geology here, could be an attraction to some of this phenomena, or maybe thinning the veil, so to speak, like Orville was talking about earlier. And we have had opinions from the natives who have come, and a lot of those people are drawn here. They've been drawn here, actually, to come and experience it here, and they've been teaching us and so forth. But anyway, through the MUFON investigation, getting back to Josh Gates, his network got a hold of our story, and they came out and filmed, and they actually did film what they could only define as a UFO. It was a strange object or light floating through our woods. They camera, and they got it on the episode. And we have a link on our website, boardcampcrystalmine.com, where it says see us on TV, and folks can go there, and that link should take them to their streaming provider to be able to see that episode. That was filmed in 2017. And I can't wait to meet your son. I hope you'll be able to bring him out, and we can talk about that. I'm glad. I hope if he saw that episode, then I would love to hear what he thinks about it. So anyway, that's how all this started for us. Like I said, we didn't believe in any of this stuff until we started to experience it. And I think that's probably true for most people. You just go about your life and you don't think about, quote, paranormal stuff. But my definition of paranormal is that which science has yet to explain. And I think, NASA, scientists, whoever, as we all keep learning witnessing and sharing together. Hopefully we'll come up with some answers one of these days.
I was going to say, are you aware of any other locations that have a mass of crystals experiencing some of the same phenomenon?
Not reported to us. Yeah, not reported to us. It's a great question. There are other crystal mines in our area, but no one's really come forward and shared with us any of their particular sightings that they may have had. And it's something that a lot of people, of course, don't want to talk about it, because
I just wondered if it was like a common theme for crystal mines, is what I was
yes.
Trying to wonder. That was something that, if it was what was drawing them.
And that's a good question. Yeah, and crystals do have, obviously, an incredible, unique, I guess you would say, physical qualities about them. I mean, they generate some kind of vibrational energy. I can't really explain that scientifically, but obviously, they run our watches, they run our computers, somebody developed crystal radios, so they transmit sound. I mean, how does that work? How does that happen? That's so fascinating about crystals. So whatever kind of vibrational energy they have, or something to do with magnetics. We've also had, I guess you would say, anti-gravity situations here, where we have pictures and videos from our game cameras that we set out over time of rocks levitating in midair. And that's just the strangest thing. But again, what is this force field that maybe the crystals themselves is creating? I don't know. But it's spooky on one hand, but we're just not used to it, right? That's just not something that you would experience normally. And like I told Tim before too, we also have the Sasquatch aspect that has manifested here. And Orville particularly has had some incredible experiences with that.
Well, Cheryl's had a lot too, so she could tell you just as many stories.
Well, he's had some sightings, and actually many of our guests who come on our Unexplained tours, they've witnessed a lot of this too, either sounds or sightings, or I don't know. There's just so much that has happened here, and like I think I said earlier, we've been startled by the events that we've witnessed, but we've not really felt threatened by them. So in our experience, it's been good, and we wouldn't have the public out here if we felt threatened. That's for sure. But it's just fascinating. It's a fascinating experience.
Oh yeah, I tell you, two things that really fascinate me about the UFO phenomena at Board Camp Crystal Mine. And by the way, we've got Orville and Cheryl Murphy back with us. They were last here with us on All Things Unexplained in March of 2021. You can find that podcast, wherever you listen to All Things Unexplained, Apple, Google, Spotify. And they're back with us now to update us on things from boardcampcrystalmine.com. And two things I find fascinating, Orville and Cheryl, is one, the possibility that unknown craft are using crystals as some sort of energy source. Our trained military pilots, this is why I have to question when I see reports to the New York Times from anonymous sources that most of the UFO sightings by our military are clutter or Chinese drones or weather balloons. These trained, and by the way, they really said that, weather balloons. That comes up all the time, right? Like, they blame it on weather balloons so often you would think you would see weather balloons all over the place. But these military pilots say, hey, these objects are doing things that our laws of physics cannot explain through an unknown means of energy. And crystals, I think, are as good of an explanation as any. Another thing you said that really caught my attention the anti-gravity. You know, on some of our very first episodes, it was revealed to us someone who was a witness to one of the most famous UFO sightings of all time. He actually got a call from Dr. J. Allen Hynek of Project Blue Book fame. And Dr. Hynek revealed to our witness on the phone that they believe, it was their theory, Project Blue Book, that UFOs somehow were harnessing the power of gravity, which I just find amazing. And here at Board Camp Crystal Mine, you have a lot of that going on. We have a listener comment here from Tamara Radcliffe. It's true. Crystals are very popular in Native American spirituality, Celtic, Wiccan, and other New Age metaphysical religions. I actually have crystals, and different crystals have different vibrational energy and healing powers, or have a certain energy they draw in. I've heard that a lot. Does that ring true with what y'all have experienced since you took over and opened Board Camp Crystal Mine?
Yes, absolutely. I think Tamara explained it very well.
Well, my wife and daughter are really love crystals, and they wanted to know what's the best time of year to come there to actually dig or hunt or whatever you do for crystals. I'm not really sure, but I got the nod to ask this question. I assume I'm going to be in trouble if I don't ask it. So, what's the best time?
When it's not too hot or it's not too cold, you're going to be outside.
It's not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, you'll be outside digging.
Yeah. If that's like Mississippi, that's going to probably be about 7 days out of the year.
I think we got about 10 days. We're a little better.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
usually March could be a little cooler, and April could be a little rainier, and May by Memorial Days, that's when the heat really starts coming by Memorial Day, and then it goes all the way through September 1st. But May seems like a good month, and also October is a very good month for September.
But we have trees, so
Yes.
we didn't bulldoze the ground. We don't tear stuff up. We only dig by hand. We never use heavy equipment on the ground because that really kills the frequency. So at least you can sit in the shade of the trees to dig.
That's true.
Well, that'd be good.
Yes, and the native peoples that came and visited with us, they said they believed that perhaps part of the reason that the energies are stronger here, or maybe the veil is thinner, is because we respected the earth and we have left everything all natural. And we do limit the daily outgo of crystals, and we limit our daily amount of visitors because of that as well. And like Orville said, we only dig by hand. We've never used heavy equipment. We just didn't want to destroy the earth. And so we think that perhaps that attitude and that process has maybe preserved some of that energy, and it's able to manifest naturally or in ways that we don't yet understand.
Smitty listener Robin Weiss assures you you'll enjoy it so much you won't notice the temperature.
Thank you, Robin.
Well, that's probably true.
Now, since we spoke last, Orville and Cheryl, we're speaking to Orville and Cheryl Murphy from Board Camp Crystal Mine. Find them at boardcampcrystalmine.com. They have their sign in the background, but if you're listening on podcast, their number is 479-243-0771, boardcampcrystalmine.com. You can take an unexplained tour there. You can spend the night. You can dig for crystals. And I've been told that everybody is drawn. One thing that stuck with me is something Orville told us last time, is that everybody seems drawn to a particular different kind of crystal for some unknown reason.
Yeah, you were talking about the unexplained this, unexplained that, and to me, the strangest thing I've ever seen out here is this. Let's say you're out camping in Colorado. Something flies overhead. So you go home, get all your friends, go back, and you sit there for a month and it never comes back. You know what I'm saying? So, but here, it's like almost on a nightly occurrence, we will see something in the sky that we can't explain. So, to me, the strangest thing is it doesn't go away. It's always there.
Fascinating.
Yes, we continue to have manifestations. I was going to say we have a YouTube channel, and if you go to our website boardcampcrystalmine.com and click on YouTube link at the top of the page, you will see our game camera photos of the levitating rocks. And it's shocking. It's shocking.
Wow.
But it's got to be some kind of a force field, anti-gravity field. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but you know, what is causing that? It's just so amazing. And in one case, it's one rock. In another case, you'll see it's a bunch of rocks all over the place. And the game camera was taking pictures based on the movement of those rocks, of course. So whatever this energy is, it's just phenomenal. And we believe that that energy probably has thinned the veil here so that we are experiencing visitations, possibly from another dimension. And we really wonder at this point if alien entities, intelligent alien life forms, and certainly intelligent, even Sasquatch, you know, are they able to visit us from other dimensions? And they're interacting with us. That's the most amazing thing. I guess you'd call it a close encounter.
Yeah, that's amazing. Since we last spoke, Orville and Cheryl, we've had a lot of folks tell us about the connection between Bigfoot sightings and UFO, UAP sightings. Can you tell us more about the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot encounters, or phenomenon that you've had at Board Camp Crystal Mine?
To be continued.
You've been listening to All Things Unexplained. If you liked this podcast, please do give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. If you would like to hear more All Things Unexplained, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Our show depends on the support of listeners like you. Find us on Venmo under the business accounts. Just look for @Bigfoot UFO. If you can't get enough of us, go ahead and check us out at allthings-unexplained.com. A special thanks to our producer, director, sound mixer, editor, and the man who wears far too many hats. No, seriously, he wears a lot of hats, Dr. Tim Mounts. Without you, we couldn't keep the lights on. Thanks for listening to All Things Unexplained.